In a world where crime manifests in myriad forms, one phenomenon stands as both rare and deeply unsettling: serial killers who prey on couples in cars. These shadowy predators, driven by sinister motives, tap into our most primal fears, transforming moments of intimacy and tranquility into nightmares made flesh. In this exploration, we delve into the grim realm of these murderers, seeking to understand their identities, what propels them towards such vile deeds, and how they occasionally elude justice, wrapped in a shroud of mystery and dread. Join us on this harrowing journey as we uncover the secrets of serial killers targeting couples in cars. The rarity of the phenomenon. The act of serial killers targeting couples in cars is inherently exceedingly rare. This scarcity can be attributed to several factors, primarily the specificity of their chosen victims. Couples in moments of vulnerability and intimacy, often secluded and beyond the watchful eyes of others. This unique selection significantly narrows the killer's hunting grounds, limiting their opportunities to strike. Furthermore, executing such murders demands substantial planning and cunning. The perpetrator must not only identify potential victims and select the optimum moment for the attack, but also navigate the logistical challenges of overpowering two individuals simultaneously, thereby heightening the risk of capture or resistance. This complexity may deter many would-be offenders. Moreover, the nature of these crimes, typically committed in remote locations or during moments when the victims are at their most vulnerable, complicates the gathering of evidence and testimonies, thus casting a veil of mystery over these cases. This might explain why, when such crimes do occur, they often remain unresolved, adding an extra layer of terror and morbid intrigue surrounding these rare and merciless predators. Motivations. The motives propelling some serial killers to target couples in cars are as varied as they are horrifying. At the core of this deviant behavior lie complex webs of psychopathology alongside a craving for power and control. One theory posits that these malevolent entities might be fueled by intense jealousy and animosity towards the happiness and intimacy observed in couples. For them, assaulting a couple in a vulnerable state may serve as a means to annihilate what they themselves cannot possess or deeply yearn for yet find beyond their emotional grasp. Another psychological viewpoint suggests that choosing couples as victims relates to a desire for domination and control. Here, the serial killer finds satisfaction and power, not just from the physical domination over the victims, but also from the disruption and obliteration of a close bond. This is particularly relevant in instances where the killer has suffered trauma or rejection in personal relationships, leading to a perverted urge for revenge against seemingly content couples. Experts in criminal behavior also hint that the preference for couples in cars might originate from a twisted sexual dimension. The killer could be motivated by perverse or violent sexual fantasies, viewing couples in cars as the perfect tableau for such impulses. Additionally, the element of planning and premeditation in these crimes cannot be overlooked. The choice of couples in cars may not only stem from psychological motives, but also from a calculated decision to target victims in scenarios where they are more isolated and vulnerable, thereby enhancing the success rate of the crime and minimizing the chances of apprehension. Together, the motives behind serial killers' targeting of couples paint a disturbing picture of psychopathology, a thirst for control, sexual perversion, and calculated cruelty, sketching a profile as rare as it is chilling in the criminal landscape. Case studies. Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most mysterious and notorious serial killers in American history, primarily active in the San Francisco Bay Area during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Known for targeting couples in secluded spots such as lovers' lanes or young people in parked cars, his method of operation included approaching victims in remote areas and employing firearms or knives. His infamy was amplified by the cryptic letters he sent to the media, claiming responsibility for the murders and including puzzles and codes. The Zodiac Killer's case had a profound impact on investigation methods at the time, resulting in extensive manhunts and the advent of forensic science, yet it remains unsolved, fueling endless theories and speculation. David Berkowitz, Son of Sam. David Berkowitz, also known as Son of Sam, instilled terror in New York City in 1976 and 1977. Though not exclusively targeting couples, many of his victims were young couples in parked cars. Berkowitz wielded a .44 caliber pistol to execute his attacks, engendering a climate of fear and paranoia across the city. His propensity for leaving bizarre, taunting letters for the police and media heightened his notoriety. His eventual capture marked a milestone in investigative techniques, leveraging intense psychological profiling and police work. His confession unveiled his disturbed and paranoid motivations, including claims of being commanded by a demon. The Monster of Florence. Italy was rocked by the case of the Monster of Florence from 1968 to 1985. This unidentified assailant specifically targeted couples in cars in isolated spots in the Tuscan countryside, employing a notably brutal modus operandi that included shooting with a .22 caliber and engaging in post-mortem mutilations, often with a clear sexual undertone. The series of murders led to exhaustive investigations and widespread panic among the public. Despite considerable efforts by the authorities, the case remains one of Italy's most enigmatic and discussed, with numerous theories and suspicions but no conclusive resolution. The Monster of Florence's crimes have not only influenced investigative techniques in Italy, but also permeated popular culture, inspiring books, films, and debates on justice and criminality. Frequency and mode of operation. Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer's attacks were notably frequent over a brief span, with the majority occurring between 1968 and 1969. His method of operation was versatile, utilizing both firearms and knives. A unique aspect was his engagement with the police and media through cryptic letters and codes, showcasing a manipulative and challenging personality trait distinct from other serial killers. Son of Sam, David Berkowitz. Berkowitz's spree was relatively brief, spanning about a year, but his attacks were executed with a consistent and methodical frequency. Contrary to the Zodiac, the Son of Sam exclusively used a .44 caliber pistol, demonstrating a preference and consistency in weapon choice. His communications with authorities were more direct and provocative, often referencing demonic and paranoid delusions. The Monster of Florence. This killer's modus operandi stood out for its brutality and consistency, particularly in the use of a specific firearm and engagement in post-mortem mutilations, hinting at a strong ritualistic or symbolic element in his crimes. Unlike the others, there was no evident communication with the police or media, adding another layer of mystery to his profile. Behaviors and profiles. Examining the behaviors and tactics employed by these infamous serial killers allows us to sketch a general psychological profile, with a particular focus on David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam, whose apprehension provides valuable insights. Strategies and behaviors. All three killers exhibited a high level of premeditation in their crimes, strategically selecting secluded locations to ambush couples in cars, indicating a preference for victims in vulnerable situations. The variance in their methods of killing, gunshots, stabbing, reflects adaptability to circumstances and personal inclinations. Psychological profile of Berkowitz. Berkowitz displayed signs of severe psychological disturbances, including potential paranoid schizophrenia. He claimed to be acting under demonic influences, suggesting a profound disconnection from reality and possibly an impaired ability to discern right from wrong. His selection of random targets and the impulsive nature of his attacks diverge from the more calculated approaches of other killers, indicating possibly higher impulsivity and a diminished capacity for planning. Shared characteristics. Despite their differences, some common traits may offer insights into the profiles of the Zodiac and the Monster of Florence. A desire for control and dominance is a recurring theme. These killers aimed to completely subjugate their victims, often during moments of intimacy. Additionally, the decision to engage with the police and media by the Zodiac and Berkowitz reveals a craving for acknowledgement and perhaps a distorted sense of superiority and defiance. Speculations on the profiles of Zodiac and Monster of Florence. Although direct interrogation is lacking, we can speculate that both the Zodiac and the Monster of Florence might share psychological traits with Berkowitz, such as a penchant for planning, a need for control, and elements of reality distortion. However, their successful evasion of capture and varied methodologies also suggest higher cunning and possibly a greater control over their impulses. The narratives of the Zodiac Killer, Son of Sam, David Berkowitz, and the Monster of Florence are not merely grim chapters in criminal history, but also pivotal in the broader discourse on serial crime. These cases have significantly impacted criminology and societal perceptions, offering profound lessons and reflections. These serial killers have been instrumental in advancing investigative techniques and criminal profiling, compelling law enforcement to adopt more sophisticated approaches to tracking and apprehending criminals with intricate and often unpredictable patterns. Additionally, their actions have enriched our understanding of the psychology behind serial killings, underscoring the roles of psychopathology, the quest for control, and power dynamics in their motivations. The societal repercussions of these murderers have been profound, instilling fear and paranoia, and altering perceptions of safety within the affected communities. Furthermore, their cases have stoked a near-morbid fascination with the serial killer archetype, often glamorized in media and popular culture. While this fascination has heightened awareness around personal safety, it has also imbued these criminals with an almost mythical status, at times obscuring the reality of their menace. From a criminological standpoint, these cases emphasize the importance of delving into not only the how, but also the why behind such crimes, reminding us that a comprehensive approach, encompassing psychology, sociology, and forensic science is crucial in preventing serial offenses. The tales of Zodiac, Son of Sam, and the Monster of Florence serve as chilling reminders of the capacity for terror and suffering inherent in some individuals. They teach us that while human nature can occasionally drift into dark realms of violence, persistent law enforcement efforts and advancements in investigative and psychological sciences remain potent forces in the battle against serial crime. Moreover, these stories underscore the need for vigilance, knowledge, and awareness, both individually and collectively, to confront and deter such manifestations of sheer malevolence. Support our endeavors by subscribing to the Riti Tosta channel and activating the notification bell.